Just certainly good to get a W. I thought our guys competed extremely hard, and certainly know that we have a big game coming up this week, and we better understand that and just getting ready for this week.
And coach, I know one game doesn't really define the season, but I mean, getting a win against the SEC team, 13-game losing streak with Snap. I mean, how was the emotions? How was the atmosphere after winning that game?
I think the first statement you said was real wise. It's just we've got to understand it's a long season ahead, but it's always good to get a win. Especially against an SEC opponent. But I think we enjoyed it that night. I think it was fun. It was a fun night, and certainly I think as players and coaches we enjoyed it. But we got to move on now and get ready for our next game. And this is the biggest game of the season because it's the next one.
Coach, after coming off the game against Kentucky, then you got Savannah State coming in. Team not as high profile. How do you guard against a letdown for your kids?
Well, I tell you, it's one thing we'll talk about, Lanny. One thing that football has taught me is you better be ready every week, and that's something that we have to do. And again, as a coaching staff, we were up here late last night. We spent just as much time, or maybe more, on Savannah State. Because I think you have to live it not only as a player but as a coach, and we know we got to be ready.
Coach, what did you, being able to come back like you guys did against Kentucky, what did you learn about your team?
Just that's really, really proud of the guys. I tell you that they fought. I mean, I told them, I said that was a golden eagle effort there, spirit. There's never any, if you see them at halftime, there was never any doubt in their eyes. You could tell, they were committed to playing 60 minutes of hard-nosed Southern Miss football, and that's what they did. And give those players all the credit. They did it, and again, just an impressive performance by those guys.
Coach, did you make any adjustments at halftime in terms of tinkering with
We did, Tim. And but we had some missed assignments early, and that's one of the things I think I just told him. I said, look, other than a few missed assignments, as a coach, you're looking at what's actually happening on the field, not the miss. You could tell on the field, we were playing physical in the first half too. We were doing that, but we just had missed assignments. And you had missed assignments, and a guy runs free and scores a touchdown two or three times. Guess what? That scoreboard ain't gonna look good, And so, but the reality is. We were playing hard, and we played hard for 60 minutes. So that, as a coach, that's what you're proud of. The guys gave great effort and cleaned that up in the second half, and just a great effort by the players.
Coach, you always preach assignment football. How do you feel like you guys are doing in assignment football?
I think naturally, if you watch the game, the first half, I didn't think we were as good as we need to be. I think the second half we certainly played well. I thought offensively we executed at a good level. I really do. There's always the biggest room in the world for us all, defensively, offensively, special teams. Is always the room for improvement. We know we got to get better from week 1 to week 2, and that's our charge. We have to do that in order to be successful.
Did you guys come out pretty clean in terms of injury?
Yeah, we did, Tim. Always got a few bangs and bruises, but we're pretty healthy.
Will you get Draper back?
Be a few more, I think.
Anything you saw after you sort of went back and studied that you didn't notice?
You always see little things inside each play, but it was pretty much what I thought at halftime. It was, and again, we went over some of those things that were happening, and that's what we got to do this week. We got to correct our mistakes and continue to, they always say in football, week 1 to week 2 is the biggest week for improvement. So we have to do that this week.
Even positive-wise, stuff you saw positive.
Yeah. Oh yeah. There's a lot of positives. I mean, just the way we played. One thing. We kind of around Southern Miss. This isn't a thing. This isn't a Jay Hopson thing. It's not. I mean, it's been here since 1950. But one thing at Southern Miss, we pride ourselves in being a physical football team, and I think that that's what these players did. I mean, you saw Golden Eagle effort out there. They played physical football.
Coach, talk a little about scouting Savannah State. What problems do you guys like? Not problems, but what advantage do you think your team will have?
Well, I think they're a multiple team. They give you a lot of different looks, and that's something they're going to make us prepare for, and that's something that, as a coach, you always, you got to get ready and prepare for a lot of different things. And so, in the second game of the season, sometimes you're always dancing into the unknown still a little bit, because usually the team doesn't, empty out everything in the first game. So, we've got to be ready, and we know we gotta be ready to play. It's the biggest game of the season. So at the end of the day, that's the way you have to approach every week.
What was the emotion like after the game in the locker room?
It was excitement. Guys were excited. It was fun. It's always fun after a win, and the guys were, again, I can't be prouder as a coach, of that effort, and just the fight, no quit, and give those guys all the credit. They did it.
Have you ever been around something like that? I mean, come back from that far?
I have, Tim, a few times. I'm getting old. I'm getting gray, but I've been there a few. But what I loved was just again, I always talk about, and you've been around here for a long time. You talk about that Southern Miss attitude of fight. You can just see it in those guys. I said, man, I'm looking at 70 Golden Eagles in here, because there was nothing but, Coach, we got this. So I was like, all right, here we go.
Like you say, you've been around a long time, but the implications of this, your first head coach job here, your first game, beating Kentucky, which was the SEC team, how would you rank this victory with some of your others?
It's up there. It's up there. It certainly is. It's it was, I think, a special night for all of us, but it's up there. It really is.
Coach, when you start looking ahead at this Savannah State team, one of the interesting things to me is when you look across that field, you're going to be looking at one of your former players, Chad Williams, defensive coordinator for Savannah State.
Mm-hmm.
Talk about, is this the first time that you've been on the opposing sideline from one of your former players? And,
No, it isn't. I've actually
what's it like?
I've done it before, but it's always fun to watch, your former players grow and become not only great coaches but great men. And I'm gonna tell you about Chad. Chad was we talk about a golden eagle. He was a true golden eagle, man. Chad was physical, tough. Chad was scared of nothing. So he even proved that in the NFL when he played in the league with the Ravens. But he was just really a great football player here, and just a tough physical player.
How does he communicate with his players? Because he didn't say 3 words here.
What's that?
Yeah.
I've seen Chad at conventions, and I just think the world of him. I know he's just a great, not only man but coach.
The win over Kentucky, what kind of statement does that make, and what did you learn about your team from that,
Well, I think
as far as the season goes?
you're talking to a football coach now, so the bottom line is, I think we have to understand that it was a great win, but we got to understand that we got a long season ahead. And the thing that I just liked about it is, the fight and the toughness, and as a coach, that's what makes you proud, and just really proud of those guys.
Coach had several MVPs of the game, Nick, Dylan,
Mm-hmm.
people like that. What was the message going to them after the game? How big was that for them?
Well, I'm sure they all enjoyed it. I mean, we're only human, but again, I thought Ito played a heck of a football game. He was actually our offensive player of the week. I thought on defense, Dylan and Xavier, Dylan Bradley was our defensive player, and Parker and Xavier actually kind of shared the special teams award, because they, Xavier blocked the punt, and Parker came up with 3 big field goals. But I thought, but you look at, you could go on Julian, Nick, what about George coming in there in the fourth quarter, just what in the offensive line. I mean, nothing happens without those guys. And I thought, it was an all over team game, and a lot of guys contributed, and just a big win.
Was there anybody that came in the second half that hadn't played that so much in the first half?
Tavares Moore came in defensively and played. You know, we got Sherrod Ruff in there quite a bit. He played quite a bit on defense. Curtis Michael came in the second half in the secondary, played a pretty good amount. Of course, George, you saw him a lot more running the ball in the second half. And, you know, we were able to use a lot of offensive linemen, which was good, you know, because we were able to get Jerry in there, you know, Will, you know, so we were able to use 4 tackles. We had Ty and Jacob, you know, starting out, and then those 2 guys came in, so it's good to get all those guys some reps and against a very good, you know, Kentucky team. So, you know, had a few.
What's the, you know, your game plan? How does it change, or does it change at all going into this game? Do you want to, you know, what do you hope to? How do you hope to?
I'm
attack?
pretty much the same, Jason. I'm not gonna, you know, it's kind of status quo, you know.
Turning point, that big pass play right before that.
I think it was huge, Tim. I think it was a big play. I think Isaiah's catch and Nick's pass right there at halftime was really a big play. And I think that if I had to say there was a play of the game, that would be it for sure.
What about Nick's confidence? I mean, do you ever see it wavering with?
Never. That's what you gotta love about him. You know, he's got that mentality, that winning. He's kind of like talking to Coxie. I said he's kind of got like that tough, that Brett Favre mentality. You know, just give me the ball. You know, what I mean, next time out. And he's the thing you love about him. He's got a, you know, he's gonna move on to the next play, and he's gonna fight every play.
Big weekend, obviously. You know, for months and months and months, we talked about your return to Southern Miss, but going out onto the field here at the Rock for the first time as the head coach.
Well, it's just, I mean, anytime you get to play in the Rock, it's just a special occasion. I think that's you know, it's just special. I think Coxie and I were talking about it over there about some of the games, and he said, "What's your most memorable one?" I said, "I don't know. I can't." I said, "Of course, TCU was a fun night." And then I started saying the Oklahoma State game, the NC State game, and I said, "There's another game or 2." And I said, "You know, it's just great. I don't know if you can name one, but there's a lot of. It's just a great environment, and just, you know, I know the players are excited to be home, and just looking forward to having the fans out and packing the Rock, and we know what a special environment it is when it's a packed house."